great histories of Middle-earth hold many incredible tales and terrible tragedies, along with dark and mysterious secrets that have never truly been revealed in the worlds of Tolkien. Deep beneath the ground, another breed of creature dwells and lurks, the Nameless Things. Their secret and brief mention in Tolkien's works has captivated audience for decades, wondering at the true nature, creation, and purpose of these beings in the world. Today we'll unravel the shrouds surrounding them, detailing everything that we know about the Nameless Things. Greetings all, I'm your guide, the Archivist. Today I'm going to cover the Nameless Things, their potential origin, their mention in the world of Middle-earth, and what purpose they might have in the world. Whilst we know that Sauron and Melkor have been the primary antagonists of the entire world of Middle-earth and beyond for the course of the Three Ages, Middle-earth is full of a vast array of malevolent creatures, monsters, terrors of all kinds, and evil so dark that it stains the very land with its presence. Throughout the books and the film adaptations, we see evil formed in many guises, be that orcs, goblins, dragons, trolls, and even legendary Balrogs from ages past found anew. However, there are other, perhaps even more terrible and dark evils mentioned and hinted at throughout the worlds of Tolkien. When the Fellowship entered Moria, after being unable to move through the mountain pass of Caradhras, dark events were set in motion that would ultimately lead to Gandalf coming into close contact with dark and mysterious powers. Once inside Moria, the Fellowship would be pursued by a Balrog, a mighty and fierce creature from the First Age, of the same ilk as Gandalf himself, if not twisted in nature. Whilst the Fellowship did escape due to Gandalf's intervention, he fell with the Balrog deep into the pits of Moria's heart. There they landed in an icy lake within the mountain, and the Balrog escaped through what Gandalf mentioned as a network of tunnels. Gandalf would ultimately defeat the Balrog at the summit of the mountain, but not without losing his life in the process. Even though Gandalf had perished, his soul remained and returned to Middle-earth again. Being a Maiar, he was not yet finished with his role to play in the events that would follow, and persisted again to meet his companions. When he met the Fellowship again, he recounted events to them of his experiences within the mountain. When Gandalf fought the Balrog of Moria, he noted at having potentially encountered the work of these creatures, and he knew them not. When talking of his fight, he claimed, "We fought far under the living earth, where time is not counted. Ever he clutched me, and ever I hewed him, till at last he fled into the dark tunnels. They were not made of Durin's folk, Gimli son of Gloin. Far, far below the deepest delving of the dwarves, the world is gnawed by nameless things. Even Sauron knows them not. They are older than he. Now I have walked there, but I will bring no report to darken the light of day." These nameless things that Gandalf mentioned are rarely spoken of whatsoever, and have become a great mystery in the world of Arda to those who have taken in its works. Over the years, many different theories have arisen about the potential origin and purpose of these creatures, some with reasonable merit considering the potential purpose of creation of these creatures. Particular intrigue arises in regards to Gandalf's mention of Sauron having no knowledge of the creatures at all. With Gandalf and Sauron both being Maiar, who have persisted since the First Age of Man, it's incredibly interesting to hear that neither of them had any knowledge prior to or otherwise of these creatures that lurk beneath the earth at Moria. This has led to many questions about Sauron's origin, along with his affiliation to his previous Dark Lord Melkor, later called Morgoth. Some consider the Watcher in the water to be one of the Nameless Things, and this line of reasoning does come with some considerable merit when looking into the archives for references of the relationship. The Fellowship encounters the Watcher in the water outside Moria, and once they escape its grasp within the belly of the mountain, Gandalf remarks, "The Watcher crept, or was driven out of the dark waters under the mountains. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world." This statement by Gandalf suggests that he does have some idea about the creatures that lurk beneath the surface of the world, although he seems to have no true idea of their ilk or purpose, at least from what he reveals. This quote does seem to be him referencing the nameless things that have become such a prolific area of discussion in the lore of Middle-earth. The Lord of the Rings books also depicts the Watcher in the water to be far more alien and mysterious than that of the tentacle octopus creature that we see in the movie adaptations, and could lend itself to being of a similar ilk to the Nameless Things under the surface of the world. Even with the potential appearance of one of the Nameless Things as the Watcher, their appearance or any real description of them has been lost to the histories. Gandalf's remark of them being nameless says a great deal about the mystery that truly shrouds them, as he is a being that has persisted virtually for all of time since the creation of the world. He is a Maiar who has spent the whole of the 3 ages within the world, with the first 2 ages spent with the Valar, who created most of what Middle-earth later became in the early times. Gandalf, who was taught a great deal by the Valar of the ilk of the world, and even the evils that can befall it. The fact that Gandalf had no prior knowledge about the creatures, considering they partook in the creation of many elements of the world itself, gives a great deal of curiosity to those who would find the origin of these creatures, and potentially leads to a conclusion that makes a lot of sense in regards to their terrible origins. One idea about that would explain the unknown origins of the Nameless Things was that they were created by Morgoth. There are many writings and passages of script that show that Morgoth created a massive network of caves and tunnels beneath Utumno, where he then worked to bring all the evil in the world to him, and created orcs, trolls, dragons, and all manner of other ill things. If this is the case, the Nameless Things could easily be another of his dark creations that were never mentioned, or simply never found. Everything that he made beneath his fortress was evil and corrupted, and the Nameless Things could be another part of his cohort that was never truly revealed, or yet to be uncovered. Sauron did not serve Melkor in the beginning, and could be unaware of some of his creations for this reason, as Morgoth had many dark and terrible secrets that he kept in the cold wastes of his northern fortress. Another string to this theory is that it is well known that the Valar didn't find all of the caverns under Utumno during the War of Wrath before Morgoth's downfall, and so the Nameless Things could simply have been creatures created by Morgoth that were never discovered. It's well known that because of all the tunnels that were never unrooted, Sauron and many Balrogs actually escaped the destruction of the fortress, and the same could have been said for any number of the other creations that Morgoth had conjured from evil. Morgoth, at that time called Melkor, created the Misty Mountains himself to try and hinder Orome, another of the Valar, from hunting his creations in Middle-earth. Their creation actually hindered the progress and changed the course of many elf settlers coming from Valinor, and ultimately led to influencing the location of many of the modern settlements in Middle-earth. Regardless, Morgoth creating the Misty Mountains gives more potential evidence of the origin of the Nameless Things, who reside beneath these very mountains that Morgoth created. It wouldn't be a massive leap in judgment to assume that they were both created by Morgoth, or have some connection as a result. Another idea could be much older and darker at the purpose of the origin of the Nameless Things. The statement made by Gandalf could be considered in a very different manner, that the Nameless Things were created during the very foundation of the world itself, at the Ainul Lindale. At the beginning of the world, Eru Ilúvatar created the Valar who sung with them, harmonizing to create the world of Arda and shape the very essence of the world itself. However, there was one amongst the Valar who did not agree with the melody and wanted to create themselves, and this was Melkor. He sung with discord in the music and created evil in the world as a result, out of line with the music of Eru. It is stated that, out of the discords of the music, not directly out of either of the themes, Eru's or Melkor's, but of their dissonance with regard one to another, evil things appeared in Arda, which did not descend from any direct plan or vision of Melkor. Because of Melkor's rebellion against the order of Eru, evil was created in the world for the first time, including Ungoliant. To this end, Melkor at this time could have had a hand in the creation of the Nameless Things at the very start of the world, and they could have dwelt beneath the surface ever since. This leads to the final idea about the origin and nature of the Nameless Things, dictated by the prophecy of Mandos, indicating that Morgoth will one day return to Middle-earth in the future to commence the Dagorath, or the final battle of the world. With this, he could unveil the Nameless Things as a weapon against the forces of good, which had been laying wait in the shadow of the world for ages, and unleash them upon the world as a force that has persisted since the very start of the world itself. Whilst this theory may not have any direct merit, it seems one way or another there is credence that Morgoth may have had a hand in the creation of the Nameless Things beneath the earth. And so I have now covered the content for this video, but if there's anything that has been missed, please share them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this content, please remember to like the subscribe and like waystones down below. Na luego vanadvan. Until we meet again.